Hi, I'm Fiona Harewood, author, speaker, and life coach. Before I get into it, I want to remind you to subscribe and share this video. You will be helping someone. The purpose of this video is to equip women and girls with varying ways in which they can protect themselves from and defend themselves against gropers. A few weekends ago, I presented at a 2-day seminar with the theme, End It Now, Domestic Violence. I was asked to conduct a workshop as part of my presentation. Virtual workshops can be slightly challenging, but the Lord put in my spirit the idea of having the audience watch a short clip illustrating one form of domestic violence. Then giving them the opportunity to discuss what they saw and answer questions. In searching for just the right clip, I found many short videos with the content I needed, but they included so much profanity that there was no conceivable way I could include any of them in the exercise. Prayer being an integral part of my lifestyle, I asked the Lord to help me find something that would be both interesting and beneficial to the audience. Not long afterwards, one of my sisters sent me an Instagram video. As I watched it, my maternal instinct immediately kicked in, and I so wanted to hug and help the young woman who fell prey to a vicious groper's attack. I also wanted to hurt that man really badly. It was at that moment I realized that I had found the material I needed for my workshop at the conference, because that young woman's experience could be any other woman's, even mine. That woman could be our daughter, our friend. She is any woman. She is every woman. After watching the video, I asked myself what I would have done had it been me. And it was as if my brain shut down. For the most part, we don't know what we would do until we're in the situation and have reacted. In spite of my emotional response to the scenario, only a few ideas emerged regarding what I could have done were I in the young lady's place. As you saw, she was attacked from behind and really had no time to think. The question I decided on for the workshop was, how can we protect ourselves if confronted with a similar situation? Our group brainstormed and came up with some workable ideas. However, before sharing some of those ideas, I will take you back to St. Michael, Barbados in the early 1990s. I was watching the 7 o'clock evening news one Tuesday when the newscaster congratulated a female police officer for her phenomenal job in apprehending a suspect. He then reported that for more than a month, several women filed complaints with the police about a man who frequented desolate streets in Bridgetown during the early morning hours, and he was harassing women and touching them inappropriately. His luck ran out one morning when he walked past a woman and reached under her skirt. This heinous act was so violent that the woman's skirt ripped at the seam. She screamed with all her might, and a female officer who was in the vicinity chased the fleeing man for more than 2 miles before arresting him. At the end of that news broadcast, I gave a spurious chuckle and said out loudly, He has to be a sick man, a very sick man. But the next morning, the police showed up at my home, dragging a man dressed in jeans and a light blue polo shirt caked with dry blood. His face was badly swollen and he could hardly walk. It took a few moments before I realized that it was my then husband. As one of the officers reported what had transpired, it slowly dawned on me that the man on the evening news was none other than my husband. I guess by now you understand why these videos of men groping women seriously anger and disturb me. Not surprisingly, in preparation for the conference, I had no problem finding several of these videos, as groping women still appears to be one of the in things in society today. Further, it must be noted that situations like these can affect victims for years. I recall being robbed by two men on my way home from elementary school. This was more than 40 years ago, and I am still troubled by that ordeal, although I experience the after effects less frequently now than I used to. When anyone approaches me from behind without my awareness, I have a violently startled response. Even though, for the most part, some men may not be very interested in issues related to domestic violence, possibly because it may not have directly impacted their lives. My question to them, especially those in our churches, is, what would it be like had the victims in those videos been your mother, wife, daughter, sister, or friend? I'm guessing you would be disturbed and may even be forced to take action. If so, then why not be proactive? Women as well as men need you in this fight against domestic violence. Men must not be overlooked as needing help, because domestic violence, as statistics show, that 1 in 7 men 18 years and older has been the victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in his lifetime. You may not be an abuser, but is it too much to ask that you stand up for the oppressed? We are calling on you to be role models for those who need a better example. Now, here's the list I promised of ways in which women may protect themselves against these audacious gropers. Number 1, before leaving your home, remember to pray for God's protection and cover yourself under the blood of Jesus. 2, when walking, be alert. Look back intermittently to see who is behind you. If the vicinity is lonely and you see someone who appears to be gaining ground, cross the street. 3, invest in an electroshock weapon such as a stun gun and have it handy. 4, have pepper spray. 5, keep a pen in your hand. It can be used effectively as a weapon. 6, look around when approaching your vehicle. Hold your key in such a way that you can use it as a weapon. If you are able to scratch your attacker with it, DNA evidence could be left behind. 7, try not to be alone if you have to be on the street late at night. 8, if you're alone and you think someone may be following you, phone a family member or a trusted friend. 9, remember that your pocketbook can also be used as a weapon. 10, Lock your vehicle as soon as you enter it, making sure no one is in the back seat. 11. Use your knee to connect to the groin of an assailant. I also found some valuable tips on Inside Edition, and these are they. 12. They advise that if you're in a crowded space, like on the subway, and you feel someone is too close to you, place your bag in the space between you and that person. 13. Call perpetrators out in public. You can say something like, back off, or don't touch me. 14. Use your elbow to push back on someone and keep him away. That is, if you're in a crowded space. 15. Try to get a photo of the assailant. 16. And this is last but not least, when in spaces like aircrafts, stay alert and speak up if someone touches you inappropriately. Now, there you have it. I hope you will never be the victim of groping. However, if you are, be ready. Self-defense is the name of the game. And don't forget, subscribe and share this video. You will be helping someone. Thank you.